Imagine this. It's 1998. If you wanted to use a computer, you needed two things: Microsoft Windows and an Intel processor. Together, they created what became known as the Wintel era. For nearly 2 decades, they controlled the center of the technology universe. Now fast forward to today. A different company has quietly built something even more powerful. Not Microsoft, not Apple, not Google. It's NVIDIA. A company that started by making graphics cards for gamers is now worth trillions of dollars. Its chips train ChatGPT, power Tesla's AI systems, run Meta's AI models, and sit inside almost every major AI data center on Earth. But here's the strange part. NVIDIA's biggest advantage isn't actually its chips. It's something far more dangerous. Something most investors never see, a software ecosystem called CUDA. And according to many industry insiders, CUDA may be creating a lock-in effect even stronger than Microsoft's Windows monopoly during the 1990s. So today we are going to answer 3 questions. How did NVIDIA become the king of AI? Why are Google, AMD, Amazon, and even Intel struggling to challenge it? And most importantly, can this empire actually last? Chapter 1: The biggest gold rush since the internet. Every generation gets a technology gold rush: the railroad boom, the automobile revolution, the internet, the smartphone era. Today is AI. But whenever there's a gold rush, the real winners are often not the miners. They are the people selling the picks and shovels. And NVIDIA has become the ultimate shovel seller. The explosion of generative AI created an enormous demand for computing power. Training a large language model requires millions of tiny mathematical calculations happening simultaneously. Traditional CPUs were never designed for that. GPUs were. And NVIDIA happened to spend decades perfecting them. As AI adoption accelerated, demand exploded. Revenue surged, margins expanded, investors piled in. The company evolved from a chip manufacturer into the most important infrastructure provider in artificial intelligence. But if that's all NVIDIA had, better chips, its lead wouldn't be nearly as secure. Because hardware advantages eventually disappear, competitors catch up, prices fall, margins shrink. History shows this over and over again. So, why hasn't that happened to NVIDIA? The answer lies beneath the hardware. Chapter 2: The secret weapon called CUDA. Let's use an analogy. Imagine 2 countries. Country A builds the world's fastest highway. Country B builds a highway that's 90% as good. Who wins? Most people would say Country A, but what if Country A also owns the maps, the GPS system, the gas stations, the repair shops, and trains every driver? Now the competition isn't even close. That's CUDA. Most people think NVIDIA sells chips. In reality, NVIDIA sells an ecosystem. CUDA was launched back in 2006. At the time, it looked like a niche developer tool. Today, it has become the operating system of AI computing. Over millions of developers have learned CUDA. Universities teach it, research papers use it, AI startups build around it. Entire engineering teams are trained on it. This creates a powerful network effect. More developers use CUDA. More software gets optimized for CUDA. More companies choose NVIDIA, which attracts more developers. And the cycle continues. This is why many AI companies don't choose NVIDIA because it's the fastest. They choose NVIDIA because it's the safest. Switching away from CUDA can mean rewriting code, retraining engineers, rebuilding infrastructure, validating performance, delaying product launches. In some cases, The cost can reach hundreds of millions of dollars. That's not a cheap advantage. That's an ecosystem advantage. And ecosystem advantages are much harder to destroy. Chapter 3: From Chip Company to AI Empire. What's even more interesting is that NVIDIA isn't stopping at GPUs. The company is executing something Wall Street calls a full-stack strategy. Think about Apple. Apple doesn't just sell iPhones. It controls the hardware, the operating system, the App Store, the developer ecosystem. NVIDIA is trying to do something similar for AI. Today, NVIDIA controls the GPUs, the networking infrastructure, the AI software libraries, the deployment frameworks, the developer tools, and increasingly, entire AI systems. Instead of selling individual chips, NVIDIA is moving toward selling complete AI factories. This is a major shift. Historically, semiconductor companies sold components. NVIDIA increasingly sells outcomes. Customers don't just buy hardware, they buy a ready-made AI platform. And that changes everything. Because when customers buy a platform, switching becomes exponentially harder. Chapter 4: Why even Intel had to surrender. Perhaps the clearest evidence of NVIDIA's power comes from an unlikely source: Intel. For decades, Intel was the king of computing. The company dominated the CPU market. Entire industries were built around Intel's architecture. But AI changed the rules. And now something remarkable is happening. Instead of fighting NVIDIA directly, Intel appears increasingly willing to work with it. Why? Because AI data centers are becoming NVIDIA-centric. The industry's center of gravity has shifted from CPUs to accelerated computing. In the old world, CPUs were the star. In the AI era, GPUs became the star. And CPUs increasingly play a supporting role. That's a profound strategic reversal. It's like the former king agreeing to become an advisor in someone else's kingdom. And it highlights how much influence NVIDIA now possesses. Chapter 5: The Bear Case. What could go wrong? Now let's challenge the bull story. Because every empire looks invincible right before it isn't. There are three major risks. Risk number 1: competition. AMD continues improving its AI chips. Google has TPUs. Amazon has Trainium. Microsoft has Mia. Meta is investing heavily in custom silicon. These companies are not just standing still. Risk number 2: inference may be different from training. Today, NVIDIA dominates AI training, but future AI growth may increasingly come from inference, the process of serving AI responses to users. Some analysts believe inference workloads could become less dependent on CUDA and more open to alternative hardware. If that happens, NVIDIA's moat may weaken. Risk number 3: valuation. Even great companies can become bad investments if investors pay too much. NVIDIA's valuation assumes years of extraordinary growth. If AI spending slows, if competition intensifies, if customers delay purchases, the stock could crack sharply even while the company remains fundamentally strong. This is one of the most important investing lessons. A great business and a great stock are not always the same thing. Chapter 6: The real question investors should ask. Many investors ask, will NVIDIA remain dominant? But that's actually a wrong question. The better question is, can anyone build an alternative ecosystem? Because NVIDIA's biggest moat isn't hardware. Hardware can be copied. Software can be replicated. But ecosystems are different. Ecosystems take years, sometimes decades, and that's exactly why CUDA matters. The battle isn't NVIDIA versus AMD, or NVIDIA versus Google. The battle is NVIDIA's ecosystem versus everyone else's ecosystem. History suggests ecosystems are incredibly durable. Microsoft Windows, Apple iOS, Google Search, Amazon AWS. Once a platform becomes a default choice, competitors must beat not only the technology, but also the habits. And habits are surprisingly difficult to change. Conclusion. So let's return to our original question. Why does NVIDIA dominate AI? Is it because of superior chips? Partly. Is it because of better management? Also true. But the deeper answer is that NVIDIA spent nearly 20 years building the infrastructure layer of artificial intelligence before most people even realized AI would matter. The company didn't just sell shovels during the AI gold rush. It built the roads, it built the maps, it trained the workers, and now it's collecting tools from nearly everyone entering the AI economy. Could competitors eventually catch up? Absolutely. Technology changes fast. History is filled with fallen giants. But for now, NVIDIA remains in a position few companies ever achieve. It's no longer competing product versus product. It's competing ecosystem versus ecosystem. And that's a much harder battle to win. So, what do you think? Is NVIDIA becoming the next Microsoft of AI? Or is another disruption already being built in someone's garage? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed deep dive business case studies like this, subscribe and I will see you in the next one. I'm Daniel, see you next time.